Hi everyone, I'm Channa Gunawardhan from Nanaska. There will be many videos and audios related to gateway exams February 2018 and the managerial level case study MCS February 2018. This will be the first video related to the same. SEMA will always give us a pre-scene which is interesting, and SEMA will find a way to make the pre-scene interesting as far as the exam conditions are concerned. Now this time the pre-scene is really interesting due to two reasons. Firstly, there are two industries that are happening from both sides of yours where there might be a need for you to learn about both the industries. What do you mean by there are two industries happening and you are in middle? Because there is a company called Norton and they are an oil company. They are not a simple small oil company. They are fully integrated, one of the largest oil companies. At the same time, there is a shared service business that is happening within this large oil company. Now these two are entirely two different industries, two different businesses. They are shared service, financial operation shared service center. I am sure it's working as a separate legal entity as well. When you go through the pre-scene, you will realize they have a culture of creating a separate subsidiary for each and every separately identifiable business. Due to that, I am sure Financial Operation Shared Service Center is a separate subsidiary, separate legal entity. Now that has its own challenges. When you run a shared service for your own group, when you have a large business that is happening in the country, when you have a large business and when you have a shared service that is happening for your own company, it will have its own challenges. Now, just to see what kind of a shared service this is, look at our company first, Norton. We are a large oil company. What do? We do the entire range of the oil industry, not limited to one small area. We have geologists. Who are the geologists? Geologists are the people who will determine where the oil reserves are and the extent of the oil reserve. So whenever you need to take oil out, you need the geologists to find out where do they think the oil reserves would be. More than that, what is critically important is what is the extent of the oil reserve. There might be an oil reserve, but is it commercially viable to drill and try to take that oil out? If the size of the oil reserve is very small, there is no point of you going for the test drilling. It is not a simple affair. It is a costly affair. For the test drilling, you might need $100 million. For test drilling itself, you might need $100 million. So first step is geologists will identify where the oil reserves are and the extent of the oil reserve. Second stage is called the exploration, where you go and do the test drilling and try to establish the available oil reserves. Next stage is called the extraction. Extraction is what you see. You have seen oil wells in the sea. There are onshore and offshore oil extraction happening. You will see the oil wells in the sea and you will see the oil wells in the land. Either way, technology is very much similar. However, you must be aware, extraction in the sea is more expensive than the extraction on the land. What we do is, we need to, let's say we have the sea level like this. You need to go up to where water levels are over, and then you need to start doing the drilling. So you need to do the drilling and try to see where the oil reserves are, take the oil out. That extraction process is an expensive affair. So we have the geologists who will do the surveys, we have the exploration stage, we have the extraction stage, then we have a big stage which will cost time, dangerous, is the transportation. Whatever the oil that takes out needs to be transported. So if you have an oil well in the sea, when you take the oil out in the middle of the sea, first of all it will be storage in a ship. First of all, it will be storage in a ship. There are different types of ships available in the world, and the type that we use are called the oil ships. Those ships are made to transport oil. So from the oil ships you take it, then you put it to the tankers, then you have permanent tankers on the land that is fixed, so that transportation process is happening. What oil is coming out? What we call crude oil, what we call petroleum. Now the petroleum in form of petroleum cannot be used for the consumption. That is why we have the process of refining. Now refining is a technical term. We will learn about exploration, we'll learn about extraction, we'll learn about refining when you join the course. Just to give a simple definition of refining, refining is boiling oil at different temperatures. So at the different level of temperatures, the output would be different. And then you take your petrol, diesel and the different sources of output from the petroleum or the crude oil that you bought. Then you have the petrol with you, you have the diesel with you. Here comes the marketing and the retailing. What do you mean marketing and the retailing? Retailing means you will take those refined crude oil, now in the form of petrol or now in the form of diesel, to the petrol stations that are owned by you. From the petrol stations, final consumers will come and buy the fuel from you. So this is not a simple process that we do. This is a lengthy process that we do. Therefore, our main operation, which is handled by Norton, is not at all a simple affair. Just to extract a word from the pre-scene to show how big we are as a company. The pre-scene says the Norton Group is vertically integrated business, which is absolutely true. Vertically integrated business. It extract and refine and sell oil. It extract, refine, sell oil. Extract, refine, sell. There are so many other processes involved which has not been mentioned in the pre-scene, but we will discuss all the steps one by one separately when you join. Natural gas and the natural gas, it operates in 85 countries. I just want to quote this to show you the industry of oil and gas itself in our company is absolutely large. It's not a straightforward, simple business that we run. It operates in 85 countries, producing 2.8 million barrels of oil equivalent a day, and it has 41,000 petrol stations, which is a wording given on the initial copy of the pre-scene, which got removed, deleted in the final version. So ensure that you use the right version. There is no reference to the 41,000 petrol stations in the pre-scene now. But the point is, we operate in 85 countries. So we are a large operation. Now my point here is, oil and gas from one side is one industry. At the same time, within our company, I am sure it makes sense, we are a large operation operating in 85 countries. No point of doing the payment processing at many different locations. We have 200 subsidiary businesses involved. We have 200 subsidiary companies involved. No point of doing the payment processing in individual 200 companies. No point of processing the payroll in individual 200 companies. No point of recording transactions separately, individually in 200 companies. We have a central point which will record all the transactions. That is what you call financial operation shared service center. The pre-scene has so much of details about that business as well. Financial operation shared service center. It has its own challenges. We have a separate business of financial operation shared service center. Who our customers are? We have only one customer, technically speaking, which is the Norton Group, large oil company in the world. And we are actually owned by them. What our challenges are, we need to deliver the information and documentation on the agreed deadlines. Otherwise, trust me, there will be huge pressure coming from the operations. And as at now, we don't keep a margin and invoice the Norton. We just transfer the entire cost of ours to the Norton Business Corporate Head Office. Norton Business Corporate Head Office will share that cost with its 200 companies involved. So we don't make profits per se. We do the transaction at the cost, and our entire cost is paid by the main company that we work with. What are the challenges available? You can imagine the pressure that you get from the operations. You are a shared service center. You need to have a team who will continuously repeat the operations, do the same thing continuously. We'll be having teams who are checking the documents continuously 365 days. Keeping those staff happy, keeping those staff within our company is a challenge. And you need to see about the future of your business. Will you one fine day provide shared services for other companies in the same country or other companies in the same business? Will you do that? Where you will go and talk to other companies and say, you have 20 subsidiaries, you are recording transactions in 20 different places, you are processing payroll in 20 different places. Why not you outsource it to us? We will do it and charge a price from you. Are we going to do that? Those are the challenges available in the shared service. So why do I say this pre-scene is very interesting? It is really interesting because we are dealing with a large oil company. That industry itself is a great industry. That industry itself is a great industry to learn. That is one side of the industry, that is one part of the industry. Then you have the shared service industry. Those two industries are faced with different challenges, different issues, and you will need to deal with both these industries, both these challenges. So welcome to February 2018 Gateway Exams Managerial Level Case Study to deal with this interesting pre-seed. There are enough large oil companies in the world. We will need to learn about them as much as possible. It's not critically required for you to learn specific details about each and every oil company, or we don't recommend you to target a real world oil company and say, we are that company. That won't be helpful. What is needed is to learn about the oil and gas industry generally and try to concentrate on the companies who are having a separate shared service center. Or you can learn about other large companies who are not in the oil industry but who are having separate shared service center like Coca-Cola. So you learn about their shared service center as well, because you need to learn about the shared services as a separate business as well, right? And look at the oil companies. You can look at British Petroleum. You can look at Shell as oil company. You can look at ExxonMobil, PetroChina as oil companies as well. So you can look at these large oil companies. You can't be looking at only small scale oil companies. What are the small scale oil companies? There are oil companies in the world who have the geologists who will go and see where the reserves are, do the exploration part. Once they confirm that there is commercially available oil in that reserve, once they get that confirmation, they will not move on to the extraction stage of the oil. They will do all the initial work. They come to the point where it can be proven that there is commercially viable oil reserves available. They end the business there. They do not extract oil. They do not refine oil. They do not do the transportation. They do not do the marketing. They do not do the retailing of oil. They do not do any of those activities. Once they get the confirmation that oil reserves are available, they sell the right to extract oil to someone else and cover their costs, make money out of it. Small oil companies. And there are enough oil companies in the world who will only do the retailing. They are the petrol sheds. What else do they have? Nothing. They buy petrol, diesel from someone else and sell. And there are companies who will get involved, entirely integrated businesses like ours, and those are the ones it will be more interesting for you to study. So you got to learn about them. Now, when you join our course, how it will be organized is, the first stage is called the KYP, Know Your Pre-Seed. First thing that we do with you is KYP, where we will try to teach you about the industry, where we will try to teach you about what is happening in the oil and gas industry, plus what is happening in the shared service industry. We will talk about how governments will get involved in this business. Don't forget, anywhere in the world, oil reserves belongs to the government. Let's say you have your own land, belongs to you. You have the legal right to the land. But if there's oil in that land, that belongs to the government. So you need to have an arrangement with the government, which is not very easy in some parts of the world. There will be enough negotiation involved. There will be enough illegal transaction payments involved in those. We can talk about those countries as well. One thing is to get the government approval. So how do we get the government approval? Either you pay them money or you do something that is commonly done. We call it PSC or PSA, Petroleum Sharing Contract, Petroleum Sharing Agreement. Every 100 gallons of oil I take, how many gallons that I'll give back to the government. So that agreement and arrangement needs to be agreed. There are enough countries in the world who are very successful because of oil, and there are enough countries in the world who are not really successful simply because they have oil. They have gone into so many problems within the country because of this huge amount of money that is available underground in the country. All those political matters, economical matters will come into play when you try to take the approval. And the environmental impact is quite negative. You got to see about the environmental impact. You are polluting the environment. Being an oil and gas company, what could be the worst thing that happened to you? What could be the worst thing? The one thing that will push your company to close down. The possibility is to have a oil well blast. You have a large oil well in the sea. Something might go wrong. Something might go wrong with the oil well. If there's an oil well blast in the sea, you're looking at huge amount of money that you're going to pay back to the government of damaging the natural resources of the country. British Petroleum oil well blast is the classic example. In 2010, it happened. They paid almost 25 billion back to the government and to the other stakeholders who suffered. So that's the worst thing that could happen to an oil and gas company. Deepwater Horizon is a movie related to that incident. We'll watch the movie when you join the course as well. So likewise, when you join us, first thing, or even if you don't join us, the first thing that you need to do is learn about the pre-scene very well. We do that through a document called KYP. We'll show you some slides of the KYP on the screen for you to get a rough idea about it. That is the first stage. After we study about the KYP, then we go into KYI, Know Your Industry. That is where the real industry study will happen. Next stage would be DD, we call it deep dive. Deep dive is we try to evaluate the pre-scene in depth. We try to go to each and every word in the pre-scene and try to define that and try to see why and how. Ask that question of why, how for each and every line of the pre-scene. And then we learn about GR, which is called the ground rules. We will teach you what are the ground rules applicable in doing the exam. On the exam day, what you should be doing, what you should not be doing. We speak to minimum 100 students every session, specifically identified 100 students after the exams, and we will track their comments before the exam and we'll track their comments after the results. So we have the same 100 students going through 3 steps of talking with us before the exam. Are they prepared? Up to what level? What are they thinking about? What questions might come? Just after the exam on the same day to get a feel about their paper, the variant they did, and after the results. So we therefore get many things that people should not be doing on the exam day and the things that we encourage to do. So all those are included in the section called ground rules, which will be a great section for you to pass. I'm not going to explain all the steps, but after that we have the refresh theory, mainly for the gateway students, for the E2, P2, F2. Then we have practice 1 mock paper and answer. Then the section called reality, where we give you 6 mock papers based on the pre-scene, this pre-scene, for you to do on the exam conditions on the exam engine, and will give you individual feedback. That is where you have the real learnings coming from. So what I want you to do now is try to learn about the pre-scene, try to learn about the business. Before I finish this video, let me highlight 2 things. On page number 11 of the pre-scene, we have been given budgeted annual operating cost. The following budget refers to the year ended 31st December 2018. 31st December 2018, next year, and is broken down by section. This includes our cost. Cost of what? Cost of the financial operations shared service center. The total cost is given as 421 million C dollars. 421 million C dollars broken into professional and staff salaries, support staff salaries, data input staff salaries, IT support staff salaries, and so on. 421 million. My question is, how important is shared service for the overall business of ours? 421 million, how important that number for the overall business of ours? Page number 13 has the total P&L of the Norton Oil and Gas Company. 421 million compared to this. How much is our sales? Our sales is 6,853. So for a sale of 6,853, we have almost 6% of the cost coming from us. So shared service center cost divided by the sales is 6%. And look at some of the big cost elements here. Exploration expenses. For the exploration you spend money, and that expenses for the entire year of 2017. I am referring 2017 actual with the budgeted running cost of the shared service for 2018. So assuming there is no big jump, exploration expenses is only 576 million. So you can imagine we have 421 compared to 576 of exploration expenses. The profit on disposal of exploration and evaluation asset. You know what it is, right? Profit on disposal of exploration and evaluation assets. Sometimes those oil reserves that we identified, we'll sell them to someone else. Instead of continuing to take oil out, we might sell them to someone else. The profit made for the entire year is 567 million. So you will see our shared service center is a substantial cost element for the organization. Therefore, on the exam day, be ready to have a pressure from the Norton, your parent company, your main company, your only customer, to reduce your cost. Make your process smoother. There will be push from them to give the documents early, to have some deadlines advanced, so they can take proper operational decisions. You be ready for that. Interesting thing on the exam day is to see you be in a shared service, whether you should give services to someone else, to a third party company, where you will have 2 customers there. The other interesting thing which we will discuss in mock paper number 2 is why not we be a separate profit center. We have our cost involved, that is fair, but we'll be charging them cost plus a profit margin. How our employees' motivation will change from it and how the Norton employees will react to it. So those are the likely issues we would like to consider when you join with us through our mock paper. So this is a quick video on gateway exams managerial level case study for February 2018, just to push you to study and learn about the industry. My request for you is learn about the pre-scene very well, learn about the industry very well, do some mock papers, get personal feedback. This is not a difficult paper to pass. SEMA wants you to pass. There's no hidden agendas in the paper, there's no tricks in the paper. As long as you do your job fairly, you will pass. All the very best. Thank you very much.